Why does this portrait drawing look completely wrong? And why does this portrait drawing look completely three-dimensional? The difference isn't talent, it's understanding the planes of the head. In the next few minutes, I'll show you how to see and draw a head in a completely different way, so your portrait drawings instantly look more 3D and believable. And stick around until the end of this video, because I'll show you a simple 2-minute daily drawing exercise that you can do to help you understand planes, improve your portrait drawings, and level up your drawing skills. Let's get into it. So what exactly are planes? Let me give you one example using this sketchbook that I have here. You can see this can be considered one plane of this square or cube. As we turn the sketchbook towards you, the viewer, you can now see this plane. You can see this plane, however, it's receding to the vanishing point. You can see this edge is longer than this edge here. As I start turning it, you can then see different planes. Now you can see this one, and also this one. This is what we consider to be planes, how they conform to perspective. And it's exactly the same with portrait drawings. By understanding planes in portrait drawings, it will make your drawings more realistic, as you'll be able to shade, render, and also capture the essence of the portrait more realistically. Let me give you some more examples. On the nose, I've got one plane on the top of the bridge, and then one plane here and one plane on the side. The forehead has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planes. And then the mouth would have one plane at the top and then 3 down below. By understanding and breaking down a portrait drawing into planes will definitely help you understand how they conform to perspective and help you render and achieve realistic portrait drawings.
Now let's apply this idea to the human head. I've taken a front view of the face and simplified it into major planes. At first glance, it might look a little strange, but that's because we stripped away all the small details and focus on the underlying structure. This is one of the best ways to train your eye to see the head as a three-dimensional form, rather than a flat outline. When I first started drawing portraits, I was obsessed with getting the nose, eyes, and mouth looking right. The problem was, even if the features looked accurate on their own, the whole portrait still felt flat. That's because I wasn't thinking about the larger form underneath. Once I started looking for the major planes first, my portrait immediately looked more believable and much more three-dimensional. So let's start with the forehead. Although we often think of it as one large curved surface, it's actually made up of several subtle planes. The center of the forehead generally faces towards the viewer, while the sides gradually come towards the temples. That change in direction affects how the light hits the surface, creating subtle shifts in value that help describe before. The nose is one of the clearest examples of planes. You've got that front plane running down the bridge, the side planes on either side, and the underside of the nose. Instead of drawing it without one, try thinking about these individual surfaces. Once you understand how each plane is positioned, it becomes much easier to shape the nose convincingly. The cheekbones are another key area. They project forward before gradually turning back towards the side of the face. Beginners often blend this area into one smooth curve, but if you look carefully, there are clear changes in direction. Recognizing those changes helps you create stronger structure and gives your face much more depth. The same idea continues on the mouth, chin, and jaw. The chin has a front plane and underside, and gives the jaw changes direction as it wraps around the face. Every time a surface turns, it interacts with light differently. That's why understanding planes is so important. I actually recommend you studying this drawing that I'm doing and copying it in your own time, pausing and rewinding and just getting yourself familiar with planes for the face. Stop asking yourself, where do I shade? If it's facing the light, it will usually appear lighter. If it's turning away, it will become darker. That way of thinking removed a lot of the guesswork and helped you build your portraits with structure rather than random values. Remember, the goal isn't to make your portraits look angular. Real faces are full of soft transitions and subtle curves. By studying the larger planes first, you're building a strong foundation that makes everything else, your features, your shading, and your lightness, much easier to get right. Once you understand the big shapes, the smaller details naturally fall into place. Now that we've looked at how the head can be broken down into different planes, let's turn that idea into a practical exercise you can actually use. This is called the portrait in a box exercise, and it's one of my favorite ways to train your eye to think in 3 dimensions. The idea is pretty simple. Instead of starting with an oval shape and immediately adding the nose, eye, and mouth, we're going to imagine the head sitting inside the box. The box gives the head structure and helps you understand the direction it's facing. Try and think of the box pointing towards the vanishing points. Try and draw your box in perspective if you can. Remember, we're not drawing a flat face on a page. We're trying to build a 3-dimensional object that exists in space. Start by drawing a simple box. It doesn't need to be perfect. You don't need advanced perfected skills for this. The purpose of this is simply to establish the main angles of the head. Look at the reference and ask yourself, which way is the head turning? Is it tilted up or down? Which side of the face is more visible? The box helps you answer those questions before you get distracted by the smaller details. Once you have your box, begin placing the major landmark of the face inside it. Think about the center line of the face sits, where the eye talks, where the nose projects out, and where the jaw connects. Don't worry about making it look like a person straight away. At this stage, you're more concerned with getting the structure and proportions working. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make is jumping straight into the details. They spend ages drawing perfect eyes or carefully shading on it. But if the underlying structure is wrong, the portrait will still look off. It's like building a house and decorating the rooms before the foundations are even finished. The details only work when the structure underneath is solid. The box also helps you understand perspective. If the head is turned slightly, you'll notice that one side of the face becomes wider, while the other side becomes narrower. If the head tilts upward or downward, the angles of the features change too. These small shifts are what make portraits feel like they actually exist in space, rather than looking like a flat sticker on the page. The biggest lesson from this exercise is good portraits aren't built by adding more detail. They're built by understanding the form underneath. Once you can construct the head with confidence, everything else becomes easier. Your features become much more accurate, your shading becomes more believable, and your portraits start to feel much more 3-dimensional. Try and spend 5 to 10 minutes per day drawing simple boxes and placing weight inside the box, which conforms to perspective. And you'll see your portrait drawings skyrocket when you attain light drawing, when you draw a little friend or family member, or when you draw from life. Your portrait will go to that next level. Just be consistent and you'll get there.